Okay, we discuss about classification of reproductive system case. First, we discuss about that as our outline. There are many things we will discuss. First, we discuss about classification of bleeding case in early pregnancy, late pregnancy, postpartum hemorrhagic shock, blood clotting disorder. In this case, we will discuss more deeply in class after this, in postpartum hemorrhage. Then after classification of bleeding case, we discuss about classification of case of maternal infection. It's like TORCH, like COVID-19, genital tract infection, postpartum infection, HIV in maternity. Then about classification of maternal psychosocial case. Then about drug pregnancy, but it's only a little drug pregnancy. Then because in Indonesia it's not a big problem about drug in pregnancy. Then this is the during pregnancy like diabetes mellitus, hyperemesis, and hypertension. Hypertension in pregnancy we have discussed this morning in hypertension induced pregnancy induced hypertension. Then about risky labor, it's about premature, postmature, and dystocia, and we will discuss about family planning. Then we continue discuss about menstrual disorder, pelvic inflammatory disease, infection, infertility, climacterium, birth trauma, and case of malignancy. Case of malignancy such as mammae, cancer mammae, reproductive organ, cancer cervical cancer, and endometrial cancer. About obstetric hemorrhage, the highest cases of death in maternal mortality we will discuss in class after this, maybe tomorrow. Then we discuss about maternal infection. Classification of maternal infection, it because bacterial infection and it caused by viral infection. In bacterial infection like syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia trachomatis, group B streptococcus, bacterial vaginosis. Then classification after bacterial infection is viral infection. It's like hepatitis B, hepatitis C, rubella, cytomegalovirus, herpes simplex, COVID-19, toxoplasmosis, and rubella. This maternal infection can transmission to fetus or to child when it can occur during delivery, during breastfeeding, and when baby in utero. It called congenital infection if happen in utero. So it's congenital infection if during delivery is in perinatal infection, if during breastfeeding is postnatal infection. So nurse must know how the infection transmitted to the baby. How is the route of transmission? Maternal infection can spread to the embryo or fetus by infection ascending from the upper vagina via uterine cervix to amniotic fluid. So the infection extending from vagina up, then to uterine, from and to amniotic fluid. It can transmission to the baby in utero or congenital infection. Then hematogenous spread as result of maternal viremia or bacteremia or parasitemia. The effect of maternal infection in utero is often variable as depend on type of infection, gestational age, and immunity of the mother. So the effect is variable. It depend of type of infection, gestational age, and the immune of the mother. In general, if the infection is primary or is acquired at an early gestation, so in early gestation when gestation of the pregnancy is still little, early gestational age, the effect of the infection are more serious, can cause congenital disease as labiopalatoschisis, anencepal, atresia ani, maybe omphalocele, meningocele, gastroschisis, and other congenital disease in baby. Then ascending root infection can cause phoenicitis and chorioamnionitis, as well as lead to premature rupture of membrane and preterm delivery. So infection can cause preterm delivery. Maternal infection can also affect the fetus and directly causing preterm birth of fetal growth restriction. So the baby or the fetus, the weight is not good. It can happen fetal growth restriction, IUGR. This is congenital disease. Congenital disease can happen in heart. It like congenital heart defect. It can be asianotic defect or cyanotic defect. Asianotic defect is in baby. There is no sign of cyanotic. It's happen when there are ventricular septal defect, atrial septal defect, patent ductus arteriosus, or coarctation. Then in cyanotic defect, the baby will look cyanotic in tetralogy, transposition, tractus arteriosus, total anomalous pulmonary venous return, or hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Then we see the congenital disease like encephalocele, spina bifida, anencepal, a baby without sepal. Then the congenital disease, there are many congenital disease. It's only example. One example is Down syndrome. We see here a baby with Down syndrome. The baby have abnormal ear, have flattened nose and face, small head at birth, and white spot on the color part of the eye. And when baby have Down syndrome, sometimes they have congenital heart disease like VSD, ASD, PDA, like that. Then short and broad hand, the hand of baby is look short. Then intestinal blockage. Now we discuss about classification of TORCH. TORCH is toxoplasmosis, congenital rubella syndrome, herpes simplex virus, and cytomegalovirus. This not TORCH. TORCH is only until cytomegalovirus. First, toxoplasmosis is the primary manifestation of congenital toxoplasmosis include intrauterine growth restriction. The baby not grow normally, and the baby can become low birth weight, and the baby can have hepatosplenomegaly, can have jaundice, chorioretinitis, intraparenchymal calcification, and anemia. Less commonly, the baby can have petechiae, hydrocephalus, and microcephalus can be found. And sometimes it can happen abortus. So the fetus not grow normally and then abortus before in the uh, what's di masa-masa muda kehamilan itu bisa terjadi abortus. Can happen abortus at what apa masa muda kehamilan. Jadi masih beberapa minggu tuh abortus bisa karena adanya infeksi toxoplasmosis. Okay, and then we discuss about congenital rubella syndrome. It includes low birth weight like toxoplasmosis. It can be hepatosplenomegaly. The baby can be cataract, congenital, or congenital heart disease like PDA or VSD, patent ductus arteriosus, or ventricular septal defect, and a petechial rest, congenital sensory neural hearing, and loss in very common. Jadi pada umumnya akan kehilangan pendengaran. Then we continue about herpes simplex virus, HSV, HIV. Rarely present with in utero infection, but instead present due to perinatal exposure. Therefore, clinical manifestation normally will present 10 to 21 days after infection. There are three major manifestations: skin, eye, mucous membranes, SEM, or central nervous system, and disseminate disease. This is three major manifestation in a baby with herpes simplex virus: skin, eye, mucous membrane, central nervous system, and disseminate disease. Then cytomegalovirus or CMV is the most common congenital infection. It will present with intrauterine growth restriction and low birth weight. It can be hepatosplenomegaly, jaundice, paraventricular calcification. It can be cataract and the sensorineural hearing loss and bone marrow suppression that will present with thrombocytopenia and anemia. Patient with cytomegalovirus often have petechial rust at birth. Then we discuss about infection. Next infection, not TORCH, but it's many happen to mother and can transmit to the baby. First is HIV. Patient with congenital HIV rarely have any evidence of outward manifestation at birth. So baby with congenital HIV look no manifestation at birth. They may have low birth weight and hepatosplenomegaly at birth, at newborn. Then we discuss about syphilis. In utero, they may be fetal loss or hydrophytalis. It can make abortus. Hydrophytalis make abortus. In the neonatal period, children with primary syphilis may present with cutaneous lesion or the palm and sores. Can have hepatosplenomegaly, jaundice, inflammation of umbilical cord. So the umbilical cord is not good. There are inflammation and discharge from the nose. Baby with children or baby with syphilis can have periostitis, may be found in X-ray or the bone. And late finding include frontal buzzing, high palatal arch, sensorineural hearing loss, and saddle nose, perioral fissure, and Hudson teeth. Now we discuss about COVID-19 in pregnancy. The UNFPA respond to COVID-19 pandemic within maternity care involves a three-pronged approach. First approach is protect maternity care provided in the maternal health workforce. Second, provide safe and effective maternity care to women. And three, maintain and protect maternal health system. Now we discuss about maternal psychosocial case. It's many postpartum mother have psychosocial case or maternal psychosocial case. First, antepartum depression. Antepartum depression, the study report that intimate partner violence emerged as one of the strong independent predictor of antenatal major depression. We see here the intimate partner violence. It's emerged. Jadi apa ya? Tindak kekerasan dari pasangan akan mendorong terjadinya antepartum depression. Here, partner violence emerges as one of strong independent predictor of antenatal major depression. 1/3 of pregnant women report major depression first time during pregnancy. Factor associated with depression during pregnancy include marital problem, lack of psychological and social support, unplanned pregnancy, traumatic life event, low social economic status. The antepartum depression has also been reported that multigravida, women with current and past obstetric complication and history of previous abortion can also attribute to antepartum depression. Many studies support this fact. So, as nurse, we must know about the situation. We have to assess the situation. Then we know, or we can avoiding this happen to the mother. Then postpartum depression. First antepartum depression, then postpartum depression. It's observed in 1 or 2 in 1,000 women in the postpartum period. Mostly seen at 2 until 4 weeks following delivery. The factor having a significant contribution to postpartum depression are past history about mental disorder and psychological disturbance during pregnancy. It can be marital problem and lack of social support and stressful life event. We see many things can contribute to postpartum depression. So nurse must assess this. Here we see low social economic status had a small but significant predictive relation to postpartum depression. Low socio-economic status. Then cognitive behavioral therapy, antidepressant, and electroconvulsive therapy may be prescribed in a few cases. So only prescribed in a few cases. Then after postpartum depression, we discuss about postpartum blues. Postpartum or maternity blues are characterized by irritability when mother can look irritability, jadi dia sensitif, frequent crying episode and anxiety related to the wellness of the baby. Jadi terlalu cemas akan kesehatan bayi. It is generally self-limited and need counseling and care, mostly seen in the Western population because of lack of strong familial support and bonding. Giving reassurance and care to the mother can help her overcome this. So to help mother is giving reassurance and care the mother. So the mother must have support system, maybe from partner or maybe from mother or from other family. Will untreated postpartum depression affect the baby? Of course, it will affect the baby. First, the baby development disorder in children. When baby become children, it may be the children have developmental disorder in children. And it can be disorder of the formation of child personality or make temperamental child or make child unhappy. How is postpartum depression treated? If the mother experience mild depression, so it only mild depression that lasts only 2 or 4 days, she only need to be given support from partner, from mother, from family in caring for the baby. So she need help from family to caring the baby. Then mother can take rest, take a nap, or can healing. But if there is severe depression, it is necessary to do counseling and antidepressant. Then if a woman has very severe symptoms such as suicidal or psychotic thought, the doctor may need to put her in the hospital to ensure her safety and that of the baby while her symptoms are addressed. Then how to preventing postpartum depression? It's very important to nurse to know preventing postpartum depression. However, if a woman has had postpartum depression in the past, most experts recommend beginning preventive treatment with antidepressant medication and psychosocial intervention right after delivery. Some experts would start a preventive program during mother third trimester if she is at very high risk. Even of using some drug could be long-term and possibly fatal to the baby. It can make birth defect, low birth weight, premature birth, small head circumference, sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS or IUFD, intrauterine fetal death. After we discussion about uh, maternal psychosocial case, now we discuss about gestational diabetes. Gestational diabetes is diabetes that a woman can develop during pregnancy. So it's pregnancy-induced gestational. Pregnancy-induced diabetes. So we here say gestational diabetes. We don't know all the cause of the gestational diabetes. Some, but not all, women with gestational diabetes are overweight before getting pregnancy or have diabetes in the family. Gestational diabetes that is not controlled can cause the baby too. The baby can grow very large, weigh more than 9 pounds, in Indonesia more than 4 kilograms, which in turn can lead the problem with delivery because it's so big, so it can lead the problem with delivery the baby, and it must be section cesarean because for, for vaginal it's difficult. A large baby born through the birth canal can injure nerve in high shoulder, break her collarbone. Uh, break her collarbone itu tulangnya bisa patah. Jadi beberapa bayi yang besar itu ketika lahir melalui vagina klavikulanya patah. Or rarely have brain damage from lack of oxygen. Jadi bisa terjadi kerusakan otak ketika dia kekurangan oksigen. Example when happen asphyxia in newborn baby. Be more likely to become overweight or obese during childhood or adolescence. Obesity can lead to type 2 diabetes. Preventive diabetes gestational. It's important for nurse. How to preventive diabetes gestational? We can educate the woman to see the doctor regularly. Then eat hot food and stay active. Women must have practice every day or maybe twice in a week or third in a week. And the woman with diabetic must take the medicine and monitor the blood sugar often and control and treat low blood sugar quickly. Jadi jangan terlambat ketika punya monitor gula darah, maka ketika rendah harus segera di treatment. Jangan terlambat. Then we discuss about shoulder dystocia baby. Is the fetal head has been born, but the shoulder are stuck and cannot be delivered. How the management be prepared for shoulder dystocia at all birth, especially if a large baby is anticipated. Shoulder dystocia cannot be predicted. The fetal head is born but remains tightly attached to the vulva. dystocia baby. Okay. This minutes of shoulder dystocia. We have 4 minutes again. Okay. Then we discuss about preterm labor is important. Preterm labor is a typical pregnancy lasts about 40 weeks. Preterm labor is that start. Aterm labor is start. Preterm is start before 37-week pregnancy. Going into preterm labor doesn't automatically mean that a woman will have preterm birth, but preterm labor need medical attention right away. Sign and symptom of premature labor, you can write. Then how to preterm labor manage? Preterm labor should be managed based on what is best for your heart and the fetus heart. If the fetus would benefit from delay in delivery, medication may be given too. First, have the organ mature more quickly. Example in women with severe preeclampsia, when it must be doing section cesarean to stop to have delivery. First, the mother give corticosteroid untuk memacu kematangan paru-paru bayi. Jadi what's in English? Jadi have the organ mature more quickly. The organ paru-paru lung of the baby have the lung of baby mature more quickly with corticosteroid. Treat by 2 day giving corticosteroid. Then reduce the risk of certain complication. Then attempt to delay delivery in a short time. How about postpartum labor? Before we discuss about preterm, and then we discuss about postpartum labor. Postpartum pregnancy is defined as pregnant that extend to beyond 42 weeks of gestational. Okay, the term prolonged pregnancy, post-death, post-datism, and synonymously used to describe the same condition. The term post-death and prolonged pregnancy are ill-defined and best avoided. So different post-death and postpartum. Post-death is more than 42 weeks, but postpartum is more than 42 weeks, but post-death is more than 40 weeks. Manage of postpartum pregnancy. Only 1 minute. Okay, and then after this we discuss contraception. Contraception is there are hormonal contraception and non-hormonal. Then about menstrual disorder. Okay, before we continue, is there any question from what we discussed before? I think we have no many time. So about the breast cancer, cancer in women, and infertility and climacterium, you can write by yourself. Then if you have question,